Hey everyone, Joshua Kirk here with you once again, and now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, the end of my lists for 2019. These are my top 10 favorite singles of 2019. I think I have a pretty amazing batch of songs that have made it into the top 10 as my favorite songs of the year. The songs that probably I've been addicted to more than any other song, or that sort of resonated with me more than any other song this year. Anyway, let's just get right to it. Coming in at number 10 is probably my pop song of the year, and that is a song that you probably heard on the radio. You've probably heard this song all over the place at this point, and it's a complete and total bop. Pop. I'm of course talking about the one and only Lizzo and her hit song Juice. Man, this is the one song that, like, as I've been listening to the 'Cause I Love You album on my phone in the car, I would be singing it out loud, and my parents would always know when I'm listening to Lizzo. For example, Like a Girl is one song that I'll be singing, like a girl, in the car. And then there's this song where I'll be going, blame it on my juice, baby, blame it on my juice. And spitting out some of my favorite, very funny quotables on here, like, heard you say I'm not the baddest bitch you like. I just love Lizzo's sort of unapologetic joy and happiness that she shows in her music and her live performances. I totally dig her self-love philosophy. And this song, Juice, I think is a perfect example of how she's really doing something good for the music world, I think. And I also love the production on the song, love the mix of funk and disco incorporated into the track, love the horns and the kind of Nile Rodgers-esque guitars, the bright synth lines on the track are great, and I like how, the song, though some of the lyrics do sound to be kind of sexual and stuff like that, really it's a song about how we all have that sort of, we all have our own sort of figurative juice that sort of helps us, through all the hard stuff in life, and just sort of, helps us look on the bright side. So, I'm going Lizzo for what has been, in my opinion, an incredible year for pop music. Then at number 9, we have Alex Cameron with the song Far From Born Again from his new record, Miami Memory. And thanks to the song, if you want to know the truest deal about what sex workers are all about, you don't even have to Google about it anymore. All you have to do is listen to the song. Alex Cameron will tell you true and honestly. And honestly, I love how he sort of talks about how, I love how he talks about this stuff kind of from a male perspective, with lines about, like, you have to call us just to comprehend what she does. Referring to how, women are kind of stereotyped as, like, sexual objects or figures to bring pleasure or bring pleasure to men, but really in reality, a woman is just like, every other, like, citizen living in this world who's, like, kind of, working hard to, like, be themselves and to sort of fill the all-important void in their lives. And some people are kind of doing this to, like, help help other people, like their family or their friends. And it's also kind of an apt commentary on sort of the stereotypes associated with masculinity, which Alex has always kind of addressed in his music, but I think on his new record, Miami Memory, he's, like, done that in a more apt way than ever. And also, this song is incredibly catchy. Love the do 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 do. That chorus is just like, it's so addictive. Love Roy Malloy's saxophone work on the track. The kind of bright, boppy synth chords on the track, the kind of soft rock inspired sound, I think, is really well done here. It's a sound that I think he took a very successful swing at on Miami Memory. And also, fun fact about this track, this is Anthony Fantano's #1 song or single of the year. So shout out to you, Anthony, and also you have pretty damn good music taste, because Miami Memory is one of my favorite albums of the year. Then at number 8, we have Richard Dawson with the song Two Halves off of his new record 2020. 2020 definitely is one of the standout releases of the year, and this song is definitely probably one of the highlights for me. It's a perfect example of how Richard now has the ability to sound really accessible while still having just that pretty unique, characteristic lyrical talent and singing voice too. And this song has probably some of the funniest lyrics I've heard all year. I'll just mention a few for you. Stop fannying around, keep it nice and simple. You're not Lionel Messi, just pass the bloody ball. Oh man, yeah, Richard just cracks me up on this track. Also with other lines like, perhaps we expected this to be a walk in the park, but these bastards from King's Priory are kicking lumps out of us. It's sort of a song kind of, observing and how kind of a bit of a bleak observation at everyday life, which, is pretty much what 2020 is all about. And, it's not as political as the title may suggest it might be. Also love how on his singing performance on the track, he makes lyrics rather unnoticeable, and it results in just some flat out kind of comical indie folk gold. Coming in at number 7, we have Pup with Kids, the pop punk song of the year off of the pop punk album of the year, also the rock album of the year for sure. I mean, Morbid Stuff grew on me probably more than anything else in 2019, because I think Pup has really, molded themselves into the pretty amazing talent that is in the Canadian punk scene, and also probably in the current crop of emo and indie rock right now. The hook is amazing, the gang vocals are so catchy, but also the lyrics on the track, though they are hilarious, just as you would probably expect from Pup, it's significantly gotten that much more harrowing and dark since the last album, The Dream Is Over. This song is more like kind of a sort of, I like how the verses on this song, he's sort of kind of ranting about, the emotions he's been dealing with lately, but doing it in such a way that has such a good self-awareness, and there's obviously a little bit of joy the band is sort of embodying here, at least in the way that it sounds. And it's Scorpion Hill could have easily made its way onto the list, probably, but I will say that Kids is probably the truest single off the album. Even though if this were just a favorite songs list, Scorpion Hill would have totally made it, because that song is actually my objective favorite song on the album. But Kids is definitely one worth paying my respects to, because this is another one I've been singing out loud in the car when I've been listening to the album. And not much more I can say other than the kids know how to kick ass here. Then at number 6, a few experimental hip-hop songs, or really any hip-hop songs at all, went quite as hard this year as Injury Reserve's Jailbreak the Tesla featuring Amine. Definitely one of my favorite tracks off of their incredible self-titled album. This is definitely one of the most creative tracks on the album, even though, probably not as creative as Rap Song Tutorial. That song is freaking genius right there. But anyway, Jailbreak, I think, has some really interesting production ideas. With the kind of creepy kalimba samples, it kind of sounds a little bit like some sort of like experimental hip-hop trio attempting to score a horror film. Sorry, clipping. And, bing. And also, I love the incorporation of what sounds like, car sounds. Like what sounds like a car kind of, swerving around and stuff like that. Jailbreak the Tesla couldn't have been a better title for the song, because the production ideas are some of the most apt I've heard this year. Richie's rapping on the track is incredible. Groggs delivers this really catchy sort of cartoonish pitch shifted hook, and then Amine delivers this verse that I'll say it out loud is downright heat. I think it bookends the song incredibly well. I think some of his bars here are incredibly animated. This track goes hard. It goes hard, seriously. Now we're going into the top 5. Yeah! Coming in at number 5, we have JPEGMAFIA's Beta Male Strategies off of his new record and my album of the year for 2019, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Thought also was a great single, but I think I kind of prefer this track a little more because I think the production ideas are probably a little more inventive here, whereas Jesus Forgive Me was a more conventional song from Peggy. I mean, I love how the beat on the track reminds me of like an anime soundtrack with how kind of sad and sort of sweet it sounds. His satire and his rapping, I think, is really clever with the way he sort of likens himself to a false prophet, giving white folks this new religion. And also sort of taking a stab at some other kind of internet things like shit posting, for example. And then the song transitions into the section where we're getting heavy metal guitars and kind of thumping beat. And it really is a transition that probably isn't supposed to happen, but yet it really works, and that's why Peggy's album is my album of the year, because it really does a good job of like sounding fragmented and kind of strange while still feeling cohesive and complete. Then at number 4, we have a soulful single off of Igor. Of course, the song I'm talking about is Tyler, the Creator's EARFQUAKE. And let me say, this is probably in my top 5 Tyler songs as of right now. It has grown on me that much more as I've listened to Igor quite frequently this year. I mean, the elements of R&B and neo-soul and the kind of psychedelic and even indie elements that are incorporated into the song, all of it's very well done here. I mean, Tyler is not content with like being labeled as any particular thing here on this song, or really on Igor for that matter. He is all about just doing what works for him and doing what feels unique to him. This not only is his pitch shifted singing on the track fantastic and makes me sing along with him for sure. Also love the kind of sad pianos on the track. I love how happy it sounds while still being very sad lyrically. It seems, this is the kind of album that has really helped a lot of people with depression and other stuff that, people that may have been having a hard year in 2019, this album pretty much came for them at the right time. time. Also think Cardi's verse on the track is very catchy and it's definitely a very fun rap verse to try to, rap along to, because, I don't even know what Cardi is saying, but I still feel something when listening to him rap. The song is great. Not much more I can say about it, considering I've gone pretty in-depth about it in my review of Igor, but you get the idea. Alright, now, the top 3. My number 3 should not surprise you. This is the one song that has probably been stuck in my head and, sort of stuck in my consciousness more than any other song did. Billie Eilish's Bad Guy included. Because it's just so unlike anything else I've heard this year. I am, of course, talking about 100 gecs, Money Machine. This Money Machine, 100 gecs, you could argue about them all you want, but they're definitely not like any other kind of music that you will hear. Like, I know 2019 just ended, but still, like, I feel like 100 gecs still are gonna get a little more attention, hopefully, in 2020, because Dylan and Laura are absolute geniuses. I think the songs that they put together are very catchy, very wild, very, strange, very kind of awkward at times. It's like this kind of stuff that they're doing. It's like it's not even fair to call it a joke anymore. Now it's just like, it's more genius than anything else you will likely hear. And also the hook on the track is just like, oh my god, this song kills me. Feels so clean like a money machine. Yeah, and also love the kind of absurd lyrics. It also has probably one of the most hilarious opening lines I've heard this year, which I'm not going to mention because it's a little dirty, but listen to the song. You'll see what I mean. Coming in at number 2, we have Big Thief, Not. This is the lead single from their new record, Two Hands, which I think is personally, in my opinion, their best album, and Not, in my opinion, is their best song, really. Literally, it is their best song. The critics are so right on this one. And Big Thief, not to mention, Big Thief are even up for, like, a goddamn Grammy, like, me, for God's sake, which it makes me extremely happy that the Grammys have finally sort of realized that Big Thief actually is, like, one of indie's most important bands right now. Sure, it's likely Bon Iver will probably beat him at the Grammys, but, personally, I would really be happy if Big Thief gets a Grammy this year. Anyway, the song is definitely their best song, mostly because lyrically, it's probably not their most in-depth. It's pretty straightforward, but you'll find that there's actually plenty of emotion to be found in the lyrics of this track, especially once Adrienne turns from her usual kind of pretty singing into a bit of a scream, actually, at the end of her performance, which is really showing that she can be really badass here. I love the harmonies that she does with Buck Meek on the track. The melody on the track is fantastic, but the part that really just, wrecks me every time is that guitar solo at the end. It's the kind of solo that I can't even explain it. It's that good, and once again, this is definitely another case where can't really go in depth about something, because I just want you to listen to this song and this album, because they are just so damn good. Alright, now we've gotten there. My number one song, or number one single of the year, I think both of those names would make sense for the song, because the song really moved me to tears this year. It's one It's one that definitely is the perfect centerpiece of the record. It's one of the best It's one of the best chamber pop songs of the decade, and I don't know. I don't know if you can guess what it is, but let me just say it right now. Weyes Blood, Movies. This is my favorite track off of Titanic Rising for a bunch of reasons. One, I think the way that she layers vocal harmonies on the track, so beautiful. And then we have the kind of slowly rising kind of cinematic synths, which I've heard comparisons to Enya with synths a little bit, but it actually also reminds me a little bit of like that last Perfume Genius record a little bit, which isn't surprising. I mean, she actually did sing on a song off of that Perfume Genius album. This album, I love the lyrics, which sort of talk about how movies have sort of manipulated some people's idea of love. It's, again, kind of straightforward, thematically, but yet really does have a lot of impact because of the way she sings all these lyrics, like, some people watch until they explode, and the movies I watched as a kid. Like, the way that she sings, I loved movies, like, in the song. It's just like, it wrecks me every time. It freaking wrecks me. It's me. Love these sort of building layers of guitars and stuff that come in, and then it makes an awesome transition into those dramatic strings and kind of warped beats at the end. Over some kind of vocoder harmonies, and then she creates this really cool victory lap for the end of the song as she's singing about some really kind of gorgeous things. I mean, the song just makes me so happy every time I listen to it. Even if there probably is a little darkness in there, I think what really strikes me is just how cathartic this song is. So that's why it's my favorite song or single of 2019. There you have it. That's my top 50 singles of 2019. Pretty great year for music. I'm really hoping that the 2020s is as good of a decade as the 2010s was for music. And I'll see you for my next review. But Happy New Year, everyone.